Hi, welcome to the Brain Dump. We are three friends with a raw approach to exploring, discussing, and deconstructing life's challenges, including topics around friendship, parenting, relational difficulties, transitions and change, and understanding cultural values and belief systems. It is through these raw and real conversations we intend to portray a way to hold and work through the complexities of the multiple realities which coexist in everyday life. We are glad you are here. It's time to connect. Here is a little clip of where we left off on the last episode of The Brain Dump.
And so we did agree today that we could maybe walk away and call each other on the phone. So this was her idea the other day. She called me when we had an argument and said, I think it would be easier if we just talk on the phone rather than in person. I said, okay. And it really worked well. So I think it's just a part of the process would be recognizing when we're in the loop and deciding that it's time to move away.
On today's episode, honoring who you are today.
You know, before it gets too ingrained that we start really saying a lot of mean things, because I think that's where I end up going. And it's you're right about like wanting to be the model for her. And the problem is that I sometimes get so far off that I'm already now like let myself down and her down because I'm not showing up how I would want her to, or I'm shaming her for showing up in the way just the exact way I am, which is mad and frustrating and yelling at the other person instead of really owning, you know, our own stuff, because we are in relationship, and that's the hard part. And James is really good at that. You know, he doesn't take it on, and he's usually not highly affected, but he's different too. He's a guy. He doesn't have all the same sensory, you know, places that we do as female women, you know, in a hormonal body.
Right. Yeah.
Which adds a whole nother element to it.
Larry says he feels sorry for us because he can see. he can see. I mean, he can just. Yeah. He doesn't even pay attention to the calendar. He can just tell by my moods when I'm close. Yeah. You know, and
well, at least you have that, because I feel like I'm just going crazy and I don't have anything to say. Oh, it's because my stupid period's coming, which I don't even have. And so that I think is where I'm feeling also really lost and not really having like a container for it. Like, why am I feeling this way? Is this due to a hormonal influx that's happening because I would normally be ovulating, or I'd normally be after my period or whatever, because I haven't had it in so long. I just feel a little lost in giving myself that grace, like knowing those few days before you do maybe need to go in a little more and not be so on and around people. And if I knew that that's where I was, then I could maybe give myself that grace to go, oh, I need to really cocoon more right now. But I think I'm not giving myself that, I guess.
You should just give yourself the grace regardless of whether you have an excuse, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because every day could be a hormonal shift. I mean, if really seriously, you know, when you get around me, your hormones could shift because maybe I'm close to my period, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, or somebody else's energy makes your stuff shift. And, you know, you said something, I don't know why I can't remember things that you say today. It's weird. But you said something. I think
you're feeling into it more than hearing what I'm saying today.
I don't know.
I feel like you're sensing more than thinking.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I'm very visual too. So like when you're texting, it's easier for me because I can read the words. But you said something around, like maybe not wanting the situation to change. And I just wondered, not necessarily why you wouldn't want the change, because for me, change is growth, and change isn't necessarily not honoring what's coming up, but it could be honoring what you could want differently for that situation. But I don't think you used the word change.
Maybe I think when I was talking about accepting that this is what's happening. Is that when I was
Maybe.
saying like whatever situation we're in and that this is what's happening, and it's not that I'm trying to figure out how to change it
or fix it,
or fix it, but to just, accept that that's what's happening. And I feel like that's the first step to then being able to potentially change the situation. If I came out like, guns blaring, like I'm going to change the situation, I feel like that's a force that doesn't actually create long lasting change, or change that really comes from the heart. So it's like this accepting who I am today, whoever that is that's showing up. And then from that acceptance, would that whatever needs to shift, allow.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean the actual situation. I just meant, I meant for you. No, I meant for you, like accepting if you needed to have a shift. It's time for a short break to remind you to like, subscribe, and share this episode. We want to connect with you, so don't forget to rate and comment below. Cheers to raw reviews for yourself. So I wasn't sure about that. I mean, I feel this is so beautiful. Like you said, I'm feeling it probably more than I'm thinking it. I think
it helps to be on the face-to-face call, because when we're texting or even talking on the phone, there's an element missing. Like when you can see my face and like see my energy this way, even not being able to be in person, there still is another element, I think, that we can tap into. And actually maybe it's easier than being in person, because there's still a protective place. Like I'm in my protective space. So I feel held, in my room, but I then have you in your space, and it feels really more supportive even.
Yeah.
Than, like, because we've had lots of good conversations on the beach and stuff, but there is a different element I'm finding with the Zoom call. I didn't know if I would like, but I'm, when the first time we did it, going, this feels weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as weird, but maybe because we're being more relaxed instead of sitting in our little spots.
I'm not relaxed. My back's all hurting. I keep shifting.
Where are you sitting? On the ground, on the dog bed?
No. I'm at our little peninsula thing, because if I point it that way, if I were to sit normal, then you'd have the glare of the background.
Yeah.
So I don't really have anywhere to sit it. No, I'm sitting up against the wall of the kitchen.
Now I see where you're at. Yeah, I couldn't place it for some reason.
Yeah. Do you need something? Okay, let me finish my talk. So for me, to wrap it up, the part that excites me the most about this conversation is the validation, acknowledgement, and permission for you to be who you are at that moment, and talk to her, like, I mean, and have your choice. I feel as though that you're being held back by something and not allowing yourself to have choice, but yet that's what you are wanting the children to have, right? So tap into that, like what's causing you the barrier of not honoring yourself, and you don't have to necessarily get up from the table in a manner that would make them feel guilty. You can just say, Mama needs 5 minutes to herself, and I need to regroup, or whatever, like this is Mommy's thing. I want you guys to continue eating, but Mommy just needs to take a deep breath over here. Like, it doesn't have to make them feel guilty. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, I want you to honor yourself.
Yeah, I think it's it's when I leave in a huff and I know that I'm actually wanting them to feel bad. And I don't like that I have that in me. It's because I'm so angry.
Got it.
It's like when you're hurt, you hurt others. We've had this conversation so many times with my kids.
Yes.
And it's that hurt feeling that doesn't know where to go. And so it goes out and it hurts others.
Got it.
That's the part that I'm really trying to figure out how to give it what it needs without hurting other people, with my words and my actions. And then there's another piece of even accepting that part of myself. If I do go to that extreme and I say something mean, that I will always come back and apologize and own it. In the moment, I might not be able to. It's just hard accepting that I have those capabilities, that I can be that. And then how can I be that hurtful, knowing that this is not what's going to help me, but still doing it. And then, 10, 20, 30 minutes later, I'm like, oh, okay. Gosh, I could, that part of me was just really needing blah, 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 whatever it is. But I couldn't do it in that moment. It's just these walls that you kind of hit up against that create this incapability to do that thing that you wish you could do in a moment.
So something that's making me ponder what you think of this comment. So when I was in therapy, I don't remember the situation that I gave her. I think it was about my mom, to be honest with you. And she said to me, "You don't own that." I was like, "What do you mean?" Because I said something mean. She's like, "You don't own that." And I was like, "Can you please explain here?" And she said, "They own their reactions. You own yours. You can't control theirs. They're choosing to react however they're choosing." So she's like, if you say, "You stupid bitch," she could choose to let that roll off her back, or she could choose to be triggered by it.
Right. Well, and sometimes it's not a choice. I mean, sometimes you're just triggered because of all of your stuff, right? Like that's that PTSD thing that can trigger without your logical self would be like, I know this isn't about me, but there's like a wound inside that makes us almost unable to not respond. And that's what I was saying about being in this female body is like, we have all of these senses coming at us where like our guys could hear stuff like that and be like, oh, she's having a bad day, and doesn't take it personal. So it's like, sometimes I feel like I don't get the choice though on how I'm going to respond or how I'm going to feel. Right. I'm sure you can relate to that. Because if your mom says something to you that really upsets you, you're responding from your triggered place.
Right.
And you,
it still made me feel though that I'm not responsible for them, and that they have to deal with those triggers, and that they have to process them and figure out why that they're so triggered by whatever I said, and therefore that I'm only responsible for myself and my triggers, which took a huge weight off of me. Not to say that I'm going to walk around purposefully trying to hurt people, just that. And I've had this conversation with her a lot. No, you're choosing to be upset right now. I'm not yelling. I'm not screaming. I'm not whatever. You are choosing. This is your choice to feel this way. And that's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be whatever, but it's not mommy doing that to you. And that was a huge weight for me, because I don't want to inflict pain or suffering or whatever on other people. And even if it's not true, I still want to live in that reality, because then I don't have to own my behavior sometimes.
Yeah, but then the flip side is now you have to be responsible for when you're triggered, like especially when your mom says something. Are you able to do the same thing? Okay, she said this thing and I took it this way. Yeah. But that's on me.
Yeah, it is on me.
And it's not on her. And that's the hard part. But also I think we have to be careful with the language, because that choice piece really gets me. Because there's times, like if one of my kids is having a meltdown, I don't think they're choosing to have a meltdown. Like they're reacting to something that is beyond their ability to change it. Like how you were saying, you know, when we're stuck in that box of reality, we could see maybe how we'd like to be, but we can't get there because there's something else under the surface happening. And I think those are the things that really trip me up when it's like, shit, this just came out of me. And I'm surprised by it. Right? Like, cause it's under the surface, you know, that whole thing about like the iceberg, there's only so much that sticks out that we're aware of, our consciousness. And then underneath there's like 90% more that we're not even aware of that comes rearing up unbeknownst to us.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I think get me. And that's what I want to model for my children is like, I get that you're going to be angry sometimes and you're not choosing to be angry. You really don't know. You just feel it. Now our choice, I guess, is how then we be with it. Are we going to let it ride up its wave, give it space, go do something? Like, what are we going to do with it? And I think that's where I'm wanting to get to that level a little faster than letting it just like derail me, you know, because it's going to happen. It's just then can I recognize it and go, oh, there it is. Okay, it's going to happen. What can I do now? How can I hold space for this? Rather than like closing up and shutting down and silencing and then bursting again. You know, it's like this constant back and forth.
Does it tend to be all at once, like them all at once targeting you? I shouldn't say that, that's kind of a mean word, but, or is it usually individual?
That's how it feels.
Right. Like,
yeah, come on, get her.
Or like, do you feel ganged up on, or?
Sometimes, but it's different every day. Sometimes it's one kid's specifically they're having a tough moment. And then other days just feels like it's one thing after another, and it just is nonstop and they're all, you know, at it. Like today felt like it was like all at me and I needed it all to be targeted on someone else. Yeah. So I don't know.
So that's a lot of input, you know, and my brain immediately goes to structure, right? I'd be like, mommy has time at 1:15 for you. And mommy has
hold on
time
to that
at 1:45 for you. And so you get 30 minutes each and it will be equal and it will be fair. And you can pick straws as to who goes first. Like, my brain,
like it's therapy session.
Right. Like that's how my brain works, because like, I feel like I have to have these structures in order to protect myself from being overwhelmed, right? Because I don't feel like I can function if I have that much input. Like my brain just shuts down and goes into error mode. Like a computer,
error.
Like 404, error. Whatever that.
Not found.
Right. delete.
Yeah, it does feel that way. There's a bombardment of
overwhelm
that sends you into
and that's
overload mode.
Why for me, and you know, I've said this many times, I've always wanted to protect you because I love you so much, and I love the kids too, but you're my number one. And so my initial thing is like to want to be like, you're talking too much. Hold on. Wait your turn. Okay. What were you saying? No, wait your turn. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to put some of those structures around you. Like, no, we don't interrupt. Let your sister have her piece. Like all those things that I'm used to doing, that is just not your style. Right. And
well, there's definitely times I do it where it's like, everyone's got to stop talking and we go bam, 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 bam.
Right.
Yeah. It's different when when it's like one after the other and they're not necessarily all talking at once, but it's just like, okay, this person has an issue. Now this person has an issue. And now this person has an issue. Or it just feels like, but the overwhelm could just be from having the same issue every day. Not even that it's, you know, all the kids at once. It's just
and that's the other
like,
part.
I thought we dealt with that, you know,
right?
I thought we dealt with that.
Right.
Why do we have to do this again?
That's the other part of me is we should have We should have been done with that. Like, why are we addressing this again? I dealt with this yesterday. This is crap. Like, I should not be dealing, right?
We're done. We're done.
But that's the beauty of you that I appreciate, is the fact that you are willing to face those things again and again and again and again. And I think for me, I love that you honor that. But I would want you to honor what feels good for you, and not that you're just doing it because of whatever this person said, whether it's the kids or whoever. And I know most of the time you do that. You honor yourself. Mm-hmm. I hear, what I hear is a cry for help to be more of yourself. To accept that you want something a certain way for yourself.
Yeah.
And go get it.
It's hard to do.
Go get it. You know, like, come on. Like, take a stance. This is mommy, and this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be, and you've got to accept it and deal with it. Mm-hmm. You know, because in reality, they're going to have to learn to deal with somebody who has a strong personality, right? Mm-hmm. At some point in their life, whether it's a teacher or someday, or it's a grocery clerk or whatever, right? Somebody's going to show up in a way that's not going to be suitable for them at that time. And if they've learned to wax and wane with who you are, but honoring themselves in the process of that, how beautiful would that be?
Yeah, that's the ultimate hope.
Yeah.
We're all giving each other space to be who we are,
right.
How we are. And I think it's the story that I get stuck in, and that's what I'm trying to shift, the lens in which I look at it through, that it's not negative, that it's a positive, experience for all of us to learn to do that with each other, that it doesn't have to look a certain way to be good or right or whatever. And I think that's what I'm wanting to shed, is that that story, like that this shouldn't be happening. This is, if whatever it is, and just really giving myself that space to be who I am in that moment. And really, like, giving myself space, like not only physically, but mentally, before shutting myself down. And then,
do you know where that story comes from?
I don't know. I mean, you could probably always look back at childhood experiences, and I know I always wanted to be the good girl and get it right. And I was like honest to a fault. And I think I'm always just trying to live in this this way that I think is gonna like win me like the good job, like you're doing well, like wherever that's coming from, I don't know, because I think it's so internally ingrained from some other experience or lifetime, who knows. Like, almost like grading myself. Like, okay, that was like a B, that was a C, that was like this, which is so crazy because that is not what I want. So it's like this, that's, I think, why I have this issue, is like I have this internal rating system that does not meet my external desire of what I want to create in my home. So I think that's why I'm trying to really like break outside this narrative that's just not, it's just not working anymore to be rating myself, be rating and to rate myself, right?
Yeah.
But in both ways. So yeah, I don't know where exactly it would stem from, but these things are always start from early on, how we get love, how we get acceptance, maybe how to like ride under the radar, and just be the good kid. I don't know, but it does feel nice to just be thinking of it in a broader perspective of could I just allow myself to be who I am in the moment and give myself that space? Because I do think it's just the way I'm thinking about the moment that I want to shift, and maybe that's where it's coming back to that change piece, right? Like I'm not necessarily trying to change the moment, but just trying to allow myself to honor what's happening. And it feels so good to have these conversations, but then like I'll walk back out there, something's going to trigger me, and I'm just like, am I going to be able to give myself that space, or am I going to just go back to that old pattern? It's so hard to break patterns. They're so ingrained. It's like, how do you shift those patterns that just happen without you even choosing it? It's just like, it's like
reactionary.
A button's pushed, and that's it. I'm done. I've already derailed myself, and now I might as well just go down the shithole. I think that's what I'm doing so often. So I would like to even have grace for that, I guess. Oh, there I did. Right there. I just went off again.
Thank you for being with us today on The Brain Dump. Cheers to Raw Connections. We want to connect with you, so don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, review, and comment below.